Believe it or not, things are somehow getting even worse for Republican Senator Ted Cruz in his re-election campaign. Now, a couple weeks ago, I talked to you about the fact that his Democratic challenger, Representative Colin Allred, was actually within the margin of error of the latest polls with Ted Cruz, meaning statistically, the two were tied. And this, of course, is a big deal. Texas is a red state. I mean, their governor, Greg Abbott, won re-election just 2 short years ago by double digits against Beto O'Rourke, the man who, a couple years prior to that, came within 2 points of beating Ted Cruz for the Senate. And now here we are again 2 years later after a Republican blowout in the midterms, and now suddenly looking like Ted Cruz is super vulnerable. But as I said, things have gone from bad to worse for Cruz. So what could be worse than being statistically tied with your Democratic opponent? Does that mean that I'm about to tell you that Colin Allred has taken the lead in Texas? Nope. No, it doesn't. Colin Allred has not taken the lead in Texas. The polls are still close. Still, some of them within that margin of error. So how is that worse? I'm glad I asked that question for you. Because it's worse because all of the latest polling data shows that Ted Cruz is not at 50%. Okay, you may be thinking to yourself, okay, why does that matter? He's still in the lead. Yes, but if Ted Cruz, the leader, is not at 50%, Colin Allred, being a little beneath him, would also clearly not be at 50%, which means there are 6 to 7 to possibly as much as 9% of voters in Texas who are still undecided. A candidate to really be considered ahead in any race has to cross that 50% mark. They have to have a majority, not just a plurality. And right now, Ted Cruz doesn't have it. 3 new polls came out within the last month. Not a single one of them shows Ted Cruz with 50% of the vote. So yes, this Senate seat at this moment leans Republican, or I guess is likely Republican according to the, standard here. But a few months ago, it was solid Republican. So the political reports have shifted this Senate seat currently held by Ted Cruz from solid Republican to likely Republican, and it's all because Cruz cannot cross that 50% threshold. Here's why this is such a big deal. Not just because we want to get Ted Cruz out, obviously that's great, but it's a big deal because Democrats are probably going to lose control of the Senate. Jon Tester, incumbent Democratic senator, is probably going to lose his race. But even if Tester wins and we know Joe Manchin, he's going to lose 100%, so Democrats lose that seat, even though Manchin wasn't really a Democrat. Anyway, best case scenario is Tester wins his race, and all the other Democrats win too, other than Manchin. Democrats still have 50-50. So not really an advantage there. So if we can keep Tester's seat and flip Ted Cruz's seat, not a huge advantage, but it's a 51-49 split in the Senate. Now, if Tester loses, that Cruz race becomes even more critical because that could be the one getting rid of Ted Cruz, replacing him with Allred. That could keep the 50-50 split. There's more. In the state of Florida, even though Donald Trump is polling in the state 5 points ahead of Kamala Harris, in the Senate race between Rick Scott and his Democratic challenger, Debbie McCarcel-Powell, that one's a dead heat. That seat may be up for grabs, even if the state of Florida itself is not up for grabs. Now, as I've repeatedly said over the last few months, I am not here to give you false hope. I am not here to make you think we're going to flip the seat in Texas or we're going to flip that seat in Florida. I'm just telling you what the polls say. At the end of the day, none of this matters until all of it matters. When the voters go out there and vote, that's when it matters. and the results of those votes are the only thing that matter. These polls will mean nothing at that point. So, if you're in Texas, if you're in Florida, this is on you. You have to go out there and make this happen. Because if you don't, the Republicans certainly will, and they're going to control the Senate for the next few years. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.